Hi, this is Faith Bernard, known as the Holistic Entrepreneur, and I'm doing this video from my home in beautiful Sedona, Arizona. Today's video is on how do you do the perfect, if not perfect, a really great three-way call. My other video that I just did talked about why we do three-way calls. Now let's talk about how you break that call down and what it's going to look like. So as the name implies, a three-way call involves three people. Now you could have a four-way call, you could have a five-way call, a six-way call, or even a conference call. However, right now we're just going to talk about a three-way call, which involves who? It involves the sponsor, the person who is inviting their friend or business associate to take a look at their product and business opportunity, okay? And then it'll involve the person who is either the prospect or someone who just recently joined, because a three-way call can happen before or after they join your opportunity. So that again would either be the prospect friend or the new member, the new distributor. And then the third person in the call is the third party outside expert, and that's usually a sponsor, but it could be someone else on the team, it could be cross-line, it could be someone further upline, it could be just someone other than the person that invited them to take a closer look. So how does that break down? Well, first of all, there's two different types of three-way calls that you can do. You can do them by appointment, where you actually get an agreement from the person to set up a three-way call so they can learn a little bit more and hear from someone else about the product, service, or the opportunity. So that's number one. Or you can do them on the fly. And what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of times I'll have people who are becoming active in the business write up a list of people that they're reaching out to. And ideally, they've reviewed a video first. Let's make that a big caveat. You don't want to set up three-way calls with people that know nothing about the opportunity or the company or the product. You want to have qualified them first by getting them to a video. Let the video do the heavy lifting for you, but make sure they review that video before you do the call. And then after they've reviewed the video, you can put them on a list where your sponsor and you could just take an hour during the day or in the evening and just make calls on the fly and see who you reach, and leave some fun voicemail messages that entice them and make them want to call you back. So that's number one. You can also do them by appointment, and that's what people usually do, but I like doing them on the fly too, because sometimes it's hard to connect with people. So if they've got 10 or 20 people they have in the prosperity pipeline that they, one, introduced, and then they didn't try to do the telling, they got them to a tool, which is a video, and their friends or business colleagues reviewed that video, or if they found them online, however those people find them, once that occurs, then you want to go ahead and set up the appointment, or as I said, you can do them on the fly. So let's say they set up an appointment, and we're just going to make these names really simple. I'm going to be the third-party outside expert, so I'm Faith, and we're going to have Mary, who is my business partner, if you will. She's a distributor on my team. And then she's got Joe, who she has introduced. She invited to take a look, piqued Joe's interest, which is the A of ADAC, which you can refer to another video where I go over that. And then she got Joe a video, and Joe watched the video, and then she said, Joe, would it be okay if I introduce you to Faith? She has more information than I do. I'm just getting started, and you can hear her story and how she's doing, and she can address your questions. So Joe says, sure, that sounds great. So we set up the three-way call. What will happen is that Mary will call me first. Don't call Joe first, call me first. So I'm on the line. We're all set and ready to go. That way, if she calls Joe first, Joe might say, well, I don't think I'm ready for a three-way call, or that can happen. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen sometimes. So it's better to actually call your either someone that's in the pipeline that's looking, but they haven't enrolled yet, or they've just enrolled and they need some third party, someone besides the person that invited them into the business opportunity and the products. So that's really key. So you want to call with your sponsor, that individual. So myself and Mary, we call Joe together. And Joe, being great. And Mary was good to say, Joe, if anything changes for you, be sure to text me or email me or Facebook me that your schedule's changed and we'll reschedule, since I know your time's valuable and so is our time as well. So if you set that up properly, most people will make the appointment. Once in a while, you'll have some no-shows. That's just part of human nature. And sometimes Mercury in retrograde or something goes on or something happens in their life that's unexpected. So anyway, so now we're going to do the three-way call. So Mary and I call Joe, and Mary goes, hi, Joe. Is this still a good time for you? And Joe says, yes. And then she says, look, I want to introduce you to my dear friend Faith, and also someone who's really helped me in the business. So what she's going to do, Mary's job is to edify and elevate me in this scenario, which means she's going to tell about my background, how she loves working with me, and how I'm supporting her in having success in the business. So edify and elevate means you validate that person's expertise and you edify by raising them up, if you will. Is really awesome. It's something that once you get in the habit of doing this, you're going to do it with everybody. So at any rate, she'll say something about my background and my experience, and then she'll say something to the effect that I've really enjoyed working with Faith, and she's really helping me get some traction in my business. And then she's going to introduce Joe to me, okay? So she'll introduce Joe, how she knows Joe, how they met, what she likes about Joe, what she loves about him, and that and what has interested Joe in really either taking a look or getting involved in the product service / opportunity. And then at that point, Mary's going to sit back and not interrupt at this point now as I invite her in to give her input. And why is that? Let's talk about that right away. Well, Mary's not going to interrupt me while I'm building rapport with Joe, because if she does interrupt me, then in Joe's mind, it means that it sort of psychologically implies that that person is not as credible as she said she was, otherwise she wouldn't be interrupting her and trying to take over the conversation, or feels that, you know, in this case, I left something out that she thought I should have said. You know, you can go la 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 la, you know, in other words, anything like that. It doesn't present well to your prospect or to your new distributor. So even if the sponsor leaves out information that the new distributor or the distributor feels like should have been shared, it doesn't matter, because that can be shared after the call or maybe after they get off with the third-party person. So do not interrupt. Sit back and relax and listen and learn. You get to learn while you earn. So at this point, my job is to build rapport with Joe. So I would be asking Joe about his background, looking for commonalities, just not just about the weather, but I would talk about where he lives, and I know people that live in that area. It's so beautiful, and what he likes to do, what attracted him. This is now once we do the rapport building around just day-to-day things, then the next piece is for me as whether I'm the sponsor or some third-party person. It doesn't matter if I personally sponsored Mary or not for this three-way, but I am going to ask him questions like, what attracted you to want to take a closer look at ABC Company? What about our product or service excited you? If they're already involved, then I would say, what made you decide to come on board? What are you looking for in your experience with ABC Company? What are you looking to, how are you looking to benefit? What do you want to get out of your blank experience? Whatever the name of the company is, what are you looking to get out of your experience? What are some of your goals? You don't want to drill them with 20 questions, but you just want to be conversational, light, but still address some questions so that they'll open up and share more about what attracted them to the opportunity and or the products and services or both. So what does that do? Well, now I get to hear from that person. I get to know what's important to them, and then I can gear the conversation. It might be primarily around the products initially, and perhaps later on they get excited about the opportunity. Or it could be the opportunity right out of the gate and the products are secondary, or it could be that both are important to that person. And so now, based on hearing what they had to say, or what Joe had to say in this example, then I can gear the conversation around that. What's important to him? If it's around health and he's an athlete, he's looking for better endurance times, more energy, he's looking to take his game up to the next level, but he's also looking to create some extra income because he feels like he's on a treadmill. You know, these are things that are important for me to know as that third-party outside expert so that I can really focus the conversation on the things that are important to him or her, as the case may be. So this is a really key piece. And then it'll come to a point where we'll come to a natural conclusion in the conversation. And the last piece that we'll do is I will now edify and elevate Mary to Joe. Now, Mary and Joe know each other. They either knew each other from work, or maybe they both like hiking. They met in a hiking club. They met in online dating, who knows? But somehow they met, and they know each other. However, right now, Joe looks at Mary as someone that doesn't have a lot of knowledge, that she's a newbie, and thank God Faith is on the line because she's going to give a lot of validity, and she's the serious business builder, blah, blah, blah. But what's cool about this is I edify and elevate Mary based on my working relationship with her and based on the qualities that I feel Mary really has that I think are amazing. I want to make sure that Joe knows what those qualities are. You know, Mary is a quick learner. She's got a big vision. She's moving very quickly. She's building an amazing team. And she totally has that can-do attitude. And I see her hitting, you know, based on her current growth curve, I see her hitting 4 or 5 and 6 figures. And, you know, and you don't have to get too detailed here, but you just want to really edify the individual who invited that other person to their friend, to their business colleague, or whoever they are, so that now Joe's going to go, wow, Mary, man, she's really going places. And so now when Mary is coaching Joe, and of course, when you coach someone, you have to ask their permission to coach them. I'll do a separate video on that because it's really important to get permission. Otherwise, it falls on deaf ears and there's no point. But now Joe will listen to Mary differently than he would have if I hadn't edified and elevated her. And that's the completion of the call. So let's go back one more time. Your 2 ways to do the 3-way. You're either going to do it by appointment, or you can set an hour during the day or the evening and have your distributor put together, let's just say, 10 to 20 names, people that they have in their prosperity pipeline, either people that are looking at the opportunity and product or people that have just recently joined. And then you just make phone calls until you reach someone, and then, of course, when you're doing them on the fly, Mary would check with Joe, is this a good time for us to talk for a few minutes? I just happen to be on the line with my mentor and sponsor, Faith, and we thought it'd be fun for you guys to meet, to have a couple of minutes. So that's how doing on the fly would look. Now, going back, when we're setting up the appointment ahead of time, Joe will be expecting a call. And so again, Mary calls Joe. Hi, this is Mary. I have Faith on the line with me like we arranged. Is this still a good time for you? Make sure he's got undivided attention during that time, or she does, whoever it is that's, you know, the person that we're talking about in this scenario. And then she's going to, again, edify and elevate me so that he will hear me differently. And then she's going to edify and elevate Joe in this example to me, which makes him feel really cool. I mean, how often do people edify and elevate you? I mean, it's, you know, I mean, I think it happens more and more as people get more and more conscious, but it's not something in the day-to-day life, family life, and business life that you often hear. So now all of a sudden he's feeling good, like, wow, this is great. And so it really sets up a great foundation for receptivity and for real authentic communication. And then my job again in this scenario is ask some questions, not too many, but just enough questions. Hopefully he'll open up because it'll be relaxed and we're having fun. And I want to learn about a little bit about himself, where he lives, what he's into, and then what attracted him to ABC company, product, service, opportunity, if that's appropriate. And then he's going to share that, and then I'm in turn going to focus the conversation on the things that he's interested in. And then at the very end, I'm going to edify and elevate Mary back to Joe. And that is your perfect or a great 3-way call. I don't know if there's any perfect anything, but hey, We can say that's a perfect three-way call. So that's it, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed that and it was valuable for you. And we'll catch you on the next video.